Some people are going to be pissed by what I'm going to say, but who cares? Who cares? Not me. Not me, at least. Look, I want you people to understand this. Elderly people, especially the millennials, not every millennial, but especially the millennials, okay? Now, I want you people to understand again, if you're a millennial passing by, I'm not saying everyone, there are always exceptions to the rule. In fact, I don't even know if the people I'm going to be talking about here are the rule or the exception, you understand me? But there's this thing. Millennials like to talk about things that they have no clue about, you understand? I feel like millennials are the only generation who are going to get up and confidently give a course on astronomy, knowing nothing about astronomy. Okay? They will teach you about happiness in life why they've never attained happiness. And indeed, it's good to share, but it's very harmful and despicable to share and act like you know everything why you haven't even been able to manifest the results that you're promising. You understand me? I was able to sit down and reflect. Okay, I was able to look at things, and in hindsight, I ended up realizing this: the best things that I did to myself and the best decisions I ever took were those I decided to take without being influenced. Were those that I took in a rebellious manner. You understand me? When I was like, please, you'll need to cause pause on me, cause pause on all of your nonsense advices, and let me just talk about these things by myself because they have been giving me advices which have been pulling and draining all of the energy in me. Okay? Be careful with the advice that you get from the elderly people. This is what I'm going to be telling you right now. Be careful with those things. You understand me? I was talking the other day, and then there was this guy who was saying one day that he will never respect a man who doesn't get married, who don't get married to a woman, obviously, because those uncles always like to be conservative. And it was like he will never respect a man who doesn't get married and doesn't have kids, for the foundation of manhood is a family and kids. You understand? See the type of teachings that he is saying. Now, obviously, as the very bad child and the lost cause that I am, because yes, I am a lost cause, I told him, Dada, man, look, I can go out there and wear a pink wig. I've got two balls. Uh, it will never remove the manhood that is in me. You understand me? It will never do that. And if you're out there, you're a man, and for one reason or the other, you can't have a family, you can't get married because of the economy and everything, because the economy is tough. You understand me? And I'm going to talk about it, I think, but the economy is tough. Whether you want it or not, you need to understand that your manhood or your whateverhood is not invalidated by the nonsense that some people say on podcasts and everywhere else. That's the first thing that you need to understand. The second thing you need to understand, mostly with the millennials who are conservatives, is that they are very like this in their head at times, you understand? That very uncle that I'm talking about is the type of guy to endorse having a family at 25. Let me tell you something, as a man, you understand me? You can take these advices as in anything, but as a man, it will be good for you to take these advices, okay? If you're broke, don't have a family, okay? We see them billionaires out there talking about the birth rates and whatever, but you need to understand that these people are hypocrites, okay? And it's so sad that people take advice from elderly people and rich people as if they know everything. Basically, you understand me? If you are young and you ain't got money and you decide to have a family because you want to please people and improve the birth rate, at the end of the day you will die most likely in your 40s because you're going to have high blood pressure. And one of the reasons why a lot of people have high blood pressure is because they have families that they never wanted to have. You understand me? Yes, a lot of people, a lot of parents out there request having family. I know that I'm going to sound like someone who is anti-family. Yes, another woke person who is telling people to not have family. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just being objective. I'm just asking you to unlearn all the rubbish that you learned before and ask yourself the real questions. Do I want this or do I want this because my father or my uncle forced this, okay? You need to understand these are the very people who equally endorse pedo behavior. I hope it's not going to... Anyways, these are people, okay? I don't know if it's because my household is like the weirdest in the world, but I've got some family members who endorse people getting married to their siblings. You understand me? I know that I'm going to the extremes, but I just want you to understand through the extremes that I'm going into that elders can be very stupid at times and that you should not listen to their advices. You understand me? You should not. There's this thing, it's more or less out of context, but I just want to talk about this thing, you understand? There's the president of Uganda who talked about his hatred for the homosexuals. Ugh. And he was like, they need to go to jail, whatever, whatever. I don't even know the details, but long story short, they were condemned. And they were like, I think it's like the death penalty, whatever, you understand? And I was like, yes. But what about a country where pedophilia is more or less normalized, okay? And that's even the reality with a lot of African countries. Pedophilia is more or less normalized in the sense that we've got 50-year-old men who got married to like 12-year-old girls. You understand me? I want you to understand this. Not only adults, but even religious groups will make you think that they are endorsing morality. Meanwhile, they are endorsing a specific weird behavior. And if you are not sense enough, if you're not having that sense enough, you will get into that nonsense where they make you think that they're endorsing something specific, but they're not endorsing that. You understand? That's why it always makes me laugh when conservatives talk about the goodness of Donald Trump. Okay, let's just be honest. Neither Donald Trump. How did this whole thing even become political? Long story short, I was telling you people to not listen to the nonsense advices of like elderly people. Love you all and peace. Bye.